Thank you, Danielle and Chris. It's really amazing to see the continued evolution of what we created with the MMA. 1 year ago at the NMPA annual meeting, we made a historic announcement with the addition of 2 songwriter board seats at NMPA. One of those songwriters joined us now to talk about his take on the state of the songwriting industry. Songwriter advocate, podcaster, musical theater producer. I honestly don't know how he has time to keep writing hit songs, but welcome Ross Golan. How are things in LA?
Thanks, David. It's good to be here. Things are doing better in LA. Very strange times, but things are doing better.
So maybe tell us a little bit about how the COVID crisis has been impacting you personally and how you write songs.
Sure. I'm really grateful and fortunate for the situation that my particular family is in. I know this has been hard on a lot of people. The songwriting industry adapts to a lot of things, and one way that we do it is through technology. Technology happens to push our industry forward in a lot of ways, but this has been a way for songwriters to actually embrace some of the technology they might not have done otherwise. So actually there's an efficiency to writing online and that I think songwriters are starting to find. So even if in the beginning they may have been reluctant to do sessions via Zoom and otherwise, I find that songwriters are starting to not only embrace it, but they've succeeded at it. A song like Stuck With You with Justin Bieber and Ariana was recorded and released within 8 days. So there's an efficiency from the inception of a song, the mixing, mastering of a song, and the release of a song. You can do so much by with artists not touring and not being able to be distracted, and with writers having to be efficient online. You're actually seeing a lot of things improve, and it'll be interesting how we take some of those things forward as things loosen up and as songwriters are allowed to write in person. Will they? I'm not sure yet, but things are doing better, and personally I feel like I've been rather creative in this environment.
Tell us a little bit about your own songwriting sessions. What kind of technologies are you using? Are there any advantages to being, this virtual way of songwriting with other writers? What's been your experience?
Yeah, so the efficiency is really interesting. In a normal session, songwriters will get in a room and they'll talk about a lot of things, what's been going on, but that gets condensed very quickly because people don't want to be on a Zoom call all day. So they'll get online. Someone there, in order for it to work, at least in my experience, someone has to be really proficient at changing a track or changing some sort of recording on the fly. Someone needs to be able to record vocals on the fly, and people need to be a little stronger independently as writers, because you can't have 6 people in a room and you don't really have the time to just to mess around as you would in a normal recording studio. So I'm finding that with some of the technology, whoever speaks most recently gets precedent. So if you speak on Zoom and someone's playing piano, whoever spoke will just cut off the audio. So it almost helps if everyone mutes, everyone takes time, everyone goes into their own writing world over a track, comes back, people sing their ideas, and then they can kind of map out a melody and they can work on lyrics together in that collaborative form. There are also some technologies. There's a thing called Audio Mover that you see a lot of producers doing, which is an actual plugin that you can put on their mix bus, and they can stream their session to whoever's listening to it, and it sounds as if they're playing it in the room. But there's latency between that and Zoom, and so it gets a little complicated. It's a lot of muting, unmuting, but you're seeing songwriters adapt, and it's actually creating music that is starting to come out. So it'll be interesting in 2 years from now if people have completely adjusted the way that they write because of how advanced some of the technology is becoming.
Yeah. We talked with Mitch Glazier about some of the unique challenges that the touring industry is facing. Another area of the music industry that has some unique challenges is musical theater. Obviously, you've had some massive success recently. Congratulations with producing your own musical production in the theater space. Tell me a little bit about that community, when you think we might see shows come back, how are they coping with the COVID crisis, and where do we go from here with musical theater?
Yeah, so the Wrong Man, my show, opened in the fall of last year, just got nominated for 9 Drama Desk Awards, so really proud of the success of that. And we've been feeling both the momentum and sort of the breaks that that have been involved in the theater community. But the theater community is really resilient and they're really supportive, so I believe that they will get through this. That said, actual performances are really complicated right now, and how it can reopen is really complicated. Seats are on top of each other. Most of the people who come to shows are either tourists or older. So how do you get, specifically in the New York theater world, how do you give people the proper space to enjoy a show? Because as you know, somebody who sneezes in a theater, coughs in a theater, might as well be yelling fire right now. So I can't imagine people running from a show after they hear somebody sneeze. So we need to have proper testing on people even just coming in. And not in addition to the audience, the actual cast has to interact with each other, and they can't interact with each other with masks on. And backstage is like the size of a touring bus. So you have a lot of people in very close quarters, and there needs to be testing on that end too. And I think they'll open up, but they probably won't be the first to open up. This isn't a professional sport. You can't really do shows just online. It doesn't have the same thing. There's not the collective experience that you have unless you're in a live theater. That's what makes live theater great, and that community so great. And let me say one thing real quick is that the actors and the acting community really got together to help out the Actors Fund. And I'd like to make sure that people know that there is a Songwriter Assistance Fund, thanks to the generosity of John Platt and Sony ATV, who donated generously $500,000 to this fund. We now have something dedicated to help songwriters from songwriters. Rather than going to something like Music Cares, which is good, that fund takes care of everybody in the music business. The Songwriter Assistance Fund, which you can go to NSAI or SONA, or look up Songwriters Assistance Fund, you can actually help songwriters right now in a direct way. So if you are capable of donating to that, please do. In the first 48 hours of launching that the fund, we had 500 applicants. So this is no joke. People need it. They need the help, and songwriters are in a precarious position right now because we don't know how we're going to be affected financially from the COVID crisis.
Sure. Ross, you were one of those rare songwriters that has a foot established in all 3 of the major songwriting cities. You were already very active in both LA and Nashville, and now with the addition of New York and your theater experience, how are you seeing those 3 different communities affected differently, if at all? And do you see any different challenges in terms of coming back in those 3 different songwriting centers?
Sure. Well, counterintuitively, I think the Nashville writers jumped right on board when it came to Zoom co-writes. I think they were really excited by it. The writers I know were right off the bat just being really productive, some doing multiple sessions in a day. I found that the LA writers were more trepid. They were nervous about the idea of having to probably pick up more of the slack and not sure how we're going to be able to record. But you're seeing again songwriters really adapt to technology. I personally have been doing sessions with people in the UK, so it's fun that in the comfort of my own studio in LA, I'm able to at 6 a.m. hop on a session, and when I thrive, which is at 6 in the morning, I'm able to be done with the session before most people are up for breakfast. New York is really different. Composers tend to write alone, or they write with one other person, and there's probably a lot of fewer distractions right now because there aren't a lot of other shows going on. They're not also in rehearsal. They're not also doing other things. So for the insulated composer, I imagine that this can be a really vibrant time. And personally speaking, it's been nice to write and be in a whole other universe in my head, because that's what theater is, and you don't have to be in the middle of a COVID crisis if you get to write shows where you're nowhere near this. So yeah, I mean, each group of people, each city has been able to thrive in different ways, and but again, there are so many songwriters that are struggling financially right now, and there are so many people who've been really deeply affected by COVID. They've lost family members and whatnot. So on a creative way, I think a lot of songwriters that are doing well, health-wise, have been able to be, really successful in this. But, my heart goes out to all the people who are having to wait and find out if their loved one is going to get off a ventilator. So it's important that we don't lose sight of why we're at home.
For sure. So Ross, last question. You joined the NMPA Board of Directors a year ago. How's that experience been? And is there anything you want to share with your fellow songwriters about what it's been like to be in the room with all the big music publishers talking about the important issues of the day?
Yeah, Liz Rose and I were honored to be asked to be on the board of directors for the NMPA. So thank you for inviting us and for bringing us on. There's a big curve, and you're learning a lot about the international music business. You're learning about all the numbers and the legal issues that we face as a community. And there's a lot to learn. You realize that our job as not just the two songwriters on the board, but for all publishers, is to educate your writers on how they're getting paid, why they're getting paid what they are currently, and how we can move that to help each other out. So I think there's been a disconnect in the past with how to actually educate songwriters and whose job it is to educate songwriters and to make to let them be their own army going forward. So it's been really educational for us, and it's also shown that publishers and songwriters fight for the same things. I think there's a stereotype that the publisher is sometimes just the bank, but in reality they don't make money unless their songwriters make money. So they're gonna fight for their songwriters first, because that's how they get paid more, and there's a blurred line between the two. And most songwriters are also self-published on some level. They have some of their publishing. It's important that songwriters understand the publishing industry. It's important for publishers to understand songwriters are not just artists, and that they can actually be proactive and help their cause out. And I think that's what we've done in the last couple years, and that's been really exciting to see our publishing songwriter community come together and really push our initiatives together.
Yeah. Well, Ross, thank you for everything you do. You've been on the front lines in all of our big battles, passing MMA, our fight against Spotify and Amazon to slash our rates, the Department of Justice. I don't know how you have time to do it all, but for anyone that doesn't already listen to Ross's podcast, go see his musical show. And I'm a big fan of your writing as well. So thanks for everything you do, Ross.
Thanks, David. Really appreciate it.